Yo, it's Austin from Calling Our Shot, and I'm here to break down two main topics that stem from today's NBA action, and that would be one, how good do I think the Bucks can be, and two, do I think the Hawks are a playoff team? If you're new here, we're just a normal YouTube channel, just talks hoops every night. We give a nightly recap. We also have a website, www.callingourshot.com. Feel free to check us out there and check out the player props that we bet every single day. I normally post that article every morning. And so far, we're doing so well. We're 39 and 22 on the year, 3-1 tonight. I can break down the couple. You can see our props over there. But back to the Bucks. Man, even though they won tonight by 22 against the Magic, something just doesn't seem to be clicking for them in my eyes. Giannis, and I think it stems from Giannis. Giannis has yet to have that big MVP game that he normally has been doing. And he just hasn't been consistent. Whether or not they've been blowing out teams, but he's not rebounding the ball like he normally does. And overall, he's struggling so far. Where do I see them going this year? That's a good question. The Bucks were the number one seed last year. They've struggled out of the gate, and I don't know if that's more chemistry because of Drew Holiday's acquisition, or maybe Bobby Portis, who's looked very well for them so far. But I don't know. They just haven't looked great. I'll be curious to see how they build from this win going into the next game. Kind of see how far they can go, because Giannis needs to step it up. He had 22 points tonight, and he just didn't look like himself, missing easy layups. I'm sure it was just an off game, as he sometimes struggles against the Magic once a year, but I don't know. I expect better from the two-time reigning MVP. As for the Hawks, they're the other game I'll talk on, because the other games we'll talk about in a second didn't really do much for me, but the Hawks with a bounce-back victory over the short-handed Philadelphia 76ers. And man, the Sixers are brutal. They are injured. They're on half the team's on the COVID protocol. They at least had Embiid tonight, who had 24 and 11, but he can only do so much. Trae Young, it was nice to see him bounce back, and their team overall looked pretty good tonight. They had, I think, almost a 25-30 point lead. They end up winning by 18. So a good performance on that end. And yeah, to answer my previous question, I think they are a playoff team. I think Trae Young, he had his slump, but he just dropped 26 and 8 tonight. DeAndre Hunter, who was a player prop that we bet tonight, man, he has looked good. He's had 15 plus in 6 straight games. He's rebounding the ball, getting his teammates involved. He's looked very good, and he stepped up for a lot of the shorthanded Hawks right now. So, every single Hawks acquisition that they've had has been injured. You had Rondo, Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Chris Dunn. All of them are all injured. So the Hawks are playing without probably 4 of their key 10 rotational players. So, I'm going to say, yeah, they're going to make the playoffs, whether or not they're a 5 seed. I don't know about that, but definitely 6 to 8 seed. I could see them making it in. Today's a short episode, but I'll break down the other couple games. Suns-Wizards. And a shocker to me, the Wizards completely blew out the Suns tonight, winning by 21. They were up by 30 at some point. Davis Bertans was shooting from the half court at some point. He was like 5 for 5 from 3. I don't know what he ended up as, but the Wizards needed this win behind Bradley Beal, who dropped 34, 8, and 9. They really needed it, and without Russell Westbrook for the next week, Thomas Bryant for the year, they desperately needed this win, and I'm glad to see them get it, even though it came off of a stinker from the Suns, which doesn't normally happen for the team that was leading the Western Conference. But, that's the NBA for you. As for another game, we had the Hornets versus the Knicks. Not a surprise here. The Knicks lost by 20. That's kind of what they do. They looked good to start the year, but people are figuring them out. They just run a zone, and they literally can't shoot a three-pointer to save their life. Now, we had a Kevin Knox sighting, which I don't know what it took to get that, but he looked good. He had 17 in the first half. I don't remember what he ended up with. Let me check it out real quick. He ended up with 19. So, you don't love that, but the Knicks are what they are. They're not going to be able to shoot. They'll have Randall, R.J. Barrett, Alfred Payton going around out there. Not something that you really love to watch, but I did love watching LaMelo Ball. He had an off night tonight, but still filled up the stat sheet. Even though he was 3 for 13, he had 8 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, and he was another one of those prop bets that we bet for his over in points, rebounds, and assists. it's easy money at this point. Might as well bet it every night until they up it. And then the last game on the slate, which I didn't watch a second of, so I won't even comment on it, but Grizzlies versus Cavaliers. I don't know if anyone watched this game, but if you did, you should be watching something else. Maybe the national championship game, which is a blowout as I record this. But, those were the games on the night. I was looking forward to Pelicans versus Mavericks. Kristaps was making his debut, but that game was postponed because the Mavericks did not have the 8 required players to play. And then right now we got Pacers versus Kings just starting up, just tipped off. No interest in that game. And then Raptors versus Trailblazers, I have interest, but I also need to go to bed, so I'm not watching and staying up for that game. If I were to make a prediction, I think the Raptors will win this one. I'm not sold on the Blazers as of yet. But then again, the Raptors have really stunk up the joint all year. But that'll be it. That is our nightly recap. I will be back tomorrow to break down the NBA, as well as please feel free to check out our callingourshot.com for the player props that we bet every single day, posted at 8 a.m., as well as check us out on social media at callingourshot on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. You name it. We'll be on TikTok soon. And I'm Austin, and I'm out. Peace.